This video is sponsored by Single Point Solution. Single Point is pioneer in production and distribution of electric vehicles like electric bikes, electric scooters and three-wheelers. Single Point also provide consulting services to small F players.
Hello friends, I am Kanchan from Akulmach Technologies and you are welcome to our show. Today we'll be discussing about one eminent personality who had been a part of our growing up years. And to discuss about this particular topic, I would like to welcome Sitesh Srivastav, who has a deep interest in corporate training. He has been training marketing professional. He has a vast experience of linguistic and he had worked in a couple of continents. So before I invite Sitesh, I would like to tell you about one particular name. This is Shiva Shankar, who is an illustrator, who was an illustrator of Chandamama. So we'll be discussing about Chandamama and of course the great artist Shankar. So welcome to the show, Sitesh. How are you doing?
Thank you, Kanchan. Good day to you in Hyderabad, and I'm very, very well in Bangalore. It's always nice to talk to you, and you suddenly brought back the childhood memories, the growing up memories, and the formative years. And I am just scratching my head about going back to those growing up days and Chandamama and all other comics were such an interesting part of our growing in those days of India.
Yes, I think that when I used to read Chandamama, I was always land into a fantasy environment and all those beautiful pictures and the kind of teaching of through pictures and telling young children, young mind about the culture and the stories and the kings. I think that used to be very fascinating. What about you?
So my memories about Chandamama has been about more about the images that I was able to see on the cover page and the interior pages. Especially, I remember that Vikram Vetal, that image depiction, and then the first thing was to open up that story and going and reading it, and always, the way it was written, the way it was image was drawn up, it was always leaving as if something is happening in the real, and either I am one of them, either Vikram or the Vetal, and discussing. Later on in years, when there was a serial Vikram Vetal on Doordarshan, I was always trying to compare it with Chandamama stories about the same, but it was not the same. The written word, the images, the characters were so vivid about the whole Chandamama as a book. So I'm really saddened to hear about the passing away of that great artist who used to be a part of my growing up.
Yes, it is sad to really hear the demise of Chandrasekhar Shiv Shankaran, because generally we used to call him Shankar, and he was a fascinating artist, and all the series of Vikram Betal he has done illustration, and interestingly there was a small story that he is very fond of painting from his childhood. And he was born in Tamil Nadu, but his father was a teacher. And there's a story which I just want to share with you, is that when he was in school and there was a test, there used to be history test. So he ended up drawing big pictures of historical figures in his test paper. So he was so much in illustration, so much in painting. So, and then after passing from art school, he also worked in one of the magazine company, and the Chandamama started in Hyderabad, in Andhra. So,
oh really?
Yes. So it was lovely to really see the pictures and how he has combined stories with illustration. That used to be awesome, and the color combination. What do you say?
Yeah, so I think the color combination in those days and the vivid depiction of the shapes and sizes of the kings and the gods depicted and the characters, the normal characters, it was all as if somebody was writing a pictorial history of India, and that those pictures captured the imagination of our Indian, children,
Right, young
students.
child. I think that's why it used to be very impressive in those times.
Very, very impressive. And it was so distinct from the foreign comics that were available in India in those days, like the Phantom and the Mandrake and the Magician and others like that. And therefore, Chandamama and others, Amar Chitra Kathas and Chandamamas and some Indian homegrown books did a great job. And I think they still do a great job by, creating the memories and the imagination of millions of children. I believe that the illustration, the illustrator, as you said, that also can become a great curriculum in the schools as a hobby subject.
Yes, it is very fascinating and very rich in content, what I feel now. And it was published in Telugu language and started by B. Negi Reddy and Chakrapani, who was a Telugu film maker. Then after 50 years, an association of Mr. Shankar was almost 50 to 60 years with Chandamama. And in 2007, it has also been on digital platform.
Okay, that's interesting. And I think digital platform is the key, and most of the publications either have already moved or they are trying to move. I would also say the people who are trying to move to the digital platform try to create the similar kind of experiences that were available when the medium was not around. And that is the whole difference, reading a book in the hand, reading a magazine on Kindle, and reading a book on a tablet or online. People just think, the developers think that it is just, one more channel added. But with each of these channels, the essence, if it is not added, it is lost. The glory is lost if the essence is not added.
Yes. So I feel we have missed a very great artist who has, I think, contributed in our growing years through his illustration, and it is a very sad news. I feel, I think your feelings will be similar to mine, and anybody who will hear about this great artist, Mr. Shankar.
Yes, Kanchan, of course. I think I appreciate that you brought up this conversation today. It is no small way of contributing to so many childhoods and the imaginations of those childhoods that we grew up, and a whole generation, and not only one, probably couple of generations grew up in those illustrations, and the people, the artist behind it was probably igniting the imagination of millions, and he knew it. People generally say the artists don't know how many hearts they touch. I would think the other way around.
Yes, so I would like to take up a new subject in our next episode. For today, bye, take care.
Thank you.